All right, class, settle down. Let's talk about something you think you know everything about. That food sitting in your pantry. Yeah, specifically that so-called humble butternut squash.
So let me ask you a little question. You think the food in your pantry is all natural, right? You go to the store, you buy fresh produce, you probably feel pretty good about it. Like you're eating something pure, something straight from the earth.
Well, let's just get one thing straight. You're wrong. Completely and utterly wrong. So much of what you think is nature's bounty is, well, it's a total fabrication, a human invention dressed up like a vegetable.
So let's get into it. Our primary case study, nature's fake vegetable.
I mean, get this. 100 years ago, the butternut squash just didn't exist. Not anywhere on the planet. This isn't some ancient plant that grew in the wild. For all intents and purposes, it's a piece of modern tech. And just look at the difference here. You've got the Osage orange, a truly ancient plant. I mean, this thing survived the Ice Age. It evolved to be eaten by giant extinct mammals. Then you have the butternut squash, created what, in the mid-1900s? Designed specifically for us, for our kitchens. One is a piece of natural history, the other is a straight-up invention.
Okay, so if nature didn't make it, who did? Who's the biological architect behind this thing?
You can thank a guy named Charles Ledette. Sometime in the mid-1900s, he basically looked at all the squashes nature had to offer and said, you know what, this just isn't good enough. He decided he could do better. He was going to design a superior vegetable.
And look, he had a real problem to solve. The raw materials he was working with, these ancient gourds, they were a mess. They were stringy, they were tough, often bland, sometimes even bitter. Some could even turn toxic. So his goal was to engineer every single one of those flaws right out of the final product.
And please, don't think this was some casual gardening project. We're talking about a 10-year design project, a full-on R&D program.
For 10 years, 10 full growing seasons, he was in a constant cycle of crossbreeding and refining. Season 1 was just getting the basics down. By Season 3, he was working on the texture. Season 7, he was dialing in the sweetness. It took him a whole decade to get to what he considered the final prototype.
I mean, he literally had a spec sheet for this thing. The goal? Create a better squash. It had to be smoother than a gourd. It had to be sweeter than a pumpkin. And the result? Something that kind of weirdly tastes almost exactly like a sweet potato. Mission accomplished.
But here's where it gets really, really weird. The most unnatural feature of this whole thing, the part that truly feels like an invention, is what happens after it's picked. A post-harvest glitch, if you will. Okay, now listen closely, because this breaks all the rules of produce. The butternut squash actually gets sweeter after you pick it. Think about that. Most fruits and veggies start to decay the second they leave the plant. This thing, it's just getting started. It's actively improving itself on your countertop.
So how do you unlock this weird feature? It's a process called curing, and it's super simple. You just harvest it, let it sit in a warm spot for about 2 weeks, and then move it somewhere cool and dry to store it. That's it. That's the magic step. So what's actually going on here? Well, during that curing process, the complex starches inside the squash are literally converting themselves into sugars. It's getting sweeter, the flavor is getting more concentrated, and the skin is hardening into this perfect protective shell. It engineers its own improvement.
And this isn't just some neat little party trick for making better soup. This engineered feature turns the butternut squash into one of the best survival tools you could possibly have. It's basically your own personal energy vault. 6 months. That's how long a cured butternut squash can last. We're not talking about canning or freezing or any kind of special preservation. No refrigeration. You just leave it there, and it's good for half a year.
Now, to put that in perspective, let's compare it to something like a winter melon. Yeah, winter melons last a long time too, but they're basically 96% water. They're a drinking crop, great for hydration. The butternut squash? That's your energy bank. It's packed with dense calories and nutrients. It's real fuel.
So what does this all add up to? It means that this man-made wonder, this biological invention, is hands down one of the most underrated survival crops on the entire planet. An absolute marvel of design.
So really let that sink in. We are eating a 10-year obsession that didn't even exist a century ago, and we just call it nature. The next time you're cutting one up in your kitchen, just remember, you're not handling some gift from the earth. You're handling one man's relentless project.
So there you have it. A vegetable designed from the ground up to be better than what nature could come up with. Engineered to get sweeter with age and to last for half a year without a refrigerator,
and it's probably sitting in your kitchen right now. I mean, now that's absolutely wild.